Welcome to Lunch Story. In each episode, you will get a behind-the-scenes look at a course, a program, a product launch. Here is your host, Dr. Ada Barlatt.
Okay, hello everyone. Thanks for joining me. Today I have Johanna Lynn, and Johanna is the founder of the Family Imprint Institute with an international private practice. She offers training for coaches, therapists, and counselors that supports them in offering fast, deep, and lasting change for their clients and themselves. So I'm excited to have you with me today and to learn a bit about your business and what you're launching. So tell me and everyone about the Family Imprint Institute and what was the program or the course that you launched?
Yeah, great to be with you, Ada.
Yay!
So my work is all about transforming patterns, the patterns that we're up against in life.
Okay.
And the product that I'm launching is the training. So to teach
Oh.
those who are on the front lines, helping people, really this systemic approach. And that means
Okay.
looking at not just the client and what the client is up against, but also where those patterns come from. And we don't have to look too far other than our family of origin to look at where this stuff, how we love, how we move through life, where all of these patterns actually come from. And so it's a training for those who work with people in distress, people in challenging parts of their lives, for how to use the tool that has benefited me personally and certainly my clients, how they can bring that into the way they work with their clients.
Wow, that is fascinating. So I'm excited to learn more about the training, but could you give me an example of one of these challenges someone might face and a pattern that might be underneath it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm even just thinking of a client yesterday. So they were a couple in their probably mid-60s,
Okay.
and their adult daughter had become estranged. And they couldn't quite figure out, we've reached out, we've tried everything, and now a year and a half has gone by, and we just can't seem to, get things back online. And so we really want to look at what's that's about. What does she blame you for? What are your resentments and hurt feelings? Let's really flush this out. And it's rarely about what we think it's about. And so that's why with every client, I take a 3-generation genealogram. So meaning 3 generations of how love flows in the family and where it gets tangled up. And as I was following this, it turns out that the husband, so the dad of the estranged daughter, had a very difficult relationship with his father. And so much of the words that he used, the way he described the challenges with his dad, where things got broken, they ended up being estranged all the way until his father's death. That we're seeing repeating realities. We're seeing a lot of the father's hurt be expressed by the daughter. And so we hold these feelings that we think are ours, but they actually don't originate with us. They don't start with us. And so where we really get traction is following what the challenge or the issue is really about, not just saying, I'm sorry and I won't do that again. Well, that's really surface, and it's not usually going to get the resolve that we're looking for something as hurt as estrangement that's lasted well over a year.
Wow.
And so often there's big ahas and sometimes some tears and big realizations to pull all of this back together in a really good way.
Wow. So these are big patterns of emotions and hurt and all sorts of things that you're helping people kind of unravel and I'm assuming, resolve, address, etc. Wow. What important work. So if I'm understanding correctly, the course or the program that you have launched is training counselors and therapists for how to apply these tools with their clients.
Exactly.
Wow. So how does that work? And, what is the program like? I imagine it could be, my background's obviously not in this type of work. So it's like, wow, it could take forever to learn how to do this stuff.
Right.
Like, how does that process work? And how do you set up your training so people get these skills that they need that can do so much?
Great question. Well, when I started this training, it was 3 years ago. And I
Okay.
thought, okay, what are the most fundamental? What are the practices and the fundamentals they're going to need to know? And it
Okay.
stretched out to be about a year.
Ah,
And what I
okay.
learned in that first year was, oh my gosh, about half the people who are taking this course are doing it for their own personal reasons, whether they've got a complicated family history or they're just
Yeah.
fascinated by epigenetics and neuroscience and all of this way of looking at their world.
Yeah.
And so it got me thinking, I wonder if I could structure the launch or structure the offer in a different way so that those people who wanted to take this for personal interests, they may be hesitant to commit for the full year, or there may be
Oh, yeah,
things
yeah,
that
yeah.
clinicians need to learn that they don't necessarily need to learn.
Right,
So
right.
that was sort of the evolution of where I am today. I decided to break the year-long training
Yeah,
into
yeah.
8 modules. And so now it's a 6-week block per
Okay.
topic. And
Okay.
so that I can mix the theoretical along with the experiential,
Yeah.
because whenever we take, would have to say my most popular module is boundaries. And so
Oh.
when we step into, yes, exactly. When we step into a huge topic like boundaries, you better
Yeah.
believe some of your own personal stuff comes up. You're going to meet
Yes,
some
yes,
friction.
yes.
And so the course is designed that, yes, we're learning the theory, but we're also honoring what might be coming up for you. So we have exercises that we can work with the material that's getting brought up. Because we, as helping professionals, have our own stuff. It's likely why we're in this industry,
Yeah,
and that's going
yeah.
to come up in the training. And so it's been great. I've gotten great feedback about the blend of theory and application, along with exercises and doing lots of our own personal work along the way.
Yeah, that's
Mhm.
lovely. I love this combination of theory and exercise and how you've really embedded in the fabric of the program. It's not like, learn all the stuff and then afterwards try to apply it, or even to try to apply it on your own. It's like,
Yeah.
no, as part of this experience, you get the theory and you have a sort of safe space, I'm assuming, with you
Yeah.
especially. It's like you're just the epitome of safety, but a safe space to put it all to work. That's really
Yeah.
cool. I also love you've taken this year-long program and you've broken it up into 8 6-week, if I'm recalling correctly,
Yep.
modules, which is pretty much sums up to a year.
That's
How does
it.
that process work? Like, do I do the modules? I'm thinking about my academic days when I was a professor, right? Like there
Mhm.
were prerequisites. Like you can't take,
Mhm.
statistics 102 until you've taken statistics 101. So is that how your modules
Yeah.
work, or have you designed them so you can mix and match? How does that
Yes,
work?
that's a great question. I designed them to be independent of each other. So we're looking, one of the other topics that's super popular is your
Yeah.
relationship blueprint. And so
Okay.
everything we need to know about healthy relationship and making a course correction when things don't feel so healthy are
Yeah.
within the relationship blueprint. Of course, we may make mention about relationship stuff in other modules, but
Hmm.
all of the how-to and the experiential is within that sort of container. My final, the 8th module, is called the mind body solution. And
Ooh,
you're going to get the most out of that if you take module 1. And so that's
okay.
really the only one that's got the prerequisite. You're just going to, it's going to land a little more deeply. You're going to sort of be able to follow with the language and the outline of it all when you've
Right.
got those two together.
Interesting. That is so interesting. And how it's so like sounds so much fun. And so choose your own adventure, but
Yeah.
you can focus in on the bits that you need and you want, and you'll also be able to learn additional things, and they all relate to each. I love it. I love it. In my brain, I'm seeing a
Yeah.
beautiful, interconnected little network of topics and concepts, which is really, really cool. How does it work for pricing? Like, do
Yes.
people buy one at a time? And do people bundle them? Like, how does that work?
Great question. From the pricing perspective, I thought, well, what would be an encouragement for those who are clinicians who think, yeah, like
Yeah.
I need to know all of these topics. They all look great. So I thought I would do, you get one module free.
Yeah.
And so if you
Yeah.
commit to the full year, it really is a full year once they all space out,
Yeah. Yeah.
then you get one module free. And if you purchase it module one-offs,
Yeah.
it's $625 per module for 6
Oh,
weeks. Yeah, so I kept it
very reasonable. Yeah.
accessible and reasonable, so anyone who really wants access to this information can have it.
Right.
And the classes
Right.
are 2 hours once a week. So it's a lot of time and a real deep dive on the topics.
Interesting. So 2 hours, maybe I misheard you. 2 hours once a week or 2 hours every
Yeah,
other week? Every
2
week, 2 hours.
hours once a week for
Once a
6
week. Okay.
weeks.
Okay. For
Yeah.
6 weeks. Wow. So a very deep dive in both
Mhm.
the concepts and giving you some time and maybe accountability to implement all of that stuff. That's interesting. I've had the great pleasure of chatting with a lot of different business owners.
Mhm.
And I feel like you're the first one that's had a tool specifically for clinicians that are going to
Mhm.
apply it on their own businesses, as opposed to, I've spoken to someone that does marketing. I've just spoken to someone that helps others write books. So I'm curious for you, because this information definitely helps people individually, but also has that additional fun layer of working into someone's practice. Do you certify people? Do people get like a certificate of completion or a
Yes.
designation at the end?
Yes, so there is a
Oh,
certification of completion.
okay.
And what's really interesting, what people that are perhaps done their masters in psychotherapy or have,
Oh,
they're very specified in what they do. This is an unregulated field.
okay.
So the sort of the well, it comes under different umbrellas. So I bring in my family constellations training, my
Okay.
integrated psychotherapy training. So there's
Oh,
even clinical hypnotherapy comes in. So
wow.
there's all of these sort of
I didn't
disciplines
know
under
that.
this umbrella.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But all what is connected is all of these fields are unregulated. And
Mm,
so you really have the freedom to I have a woman right now who's in Barbara Brennan's energy school.
yep.
And so she brings it in from more of the energetic application. I
Ooh,
have a person who's a naturopathic physician and is very specialized in health. And so she's
okay.
going to bring it into her practice in a very different way.
Yeah.
I've had another woman who does really serious work with grief and grief recovery. And so she
Mm,
would use this work in yet another way. So I actually
right.
really love the creativity and the way that it can be applied. And so that each person who's a participant in my training may bring that back and add it to their own toolbox in the way that they love to
Yeah.
work. And
Yeah.
so it isn't specified that it has to look this way. You get to add your colors and it's a co-creative process in that way.
It is a cool creative process. And it's often that the really fundamental bits of knowledge can be applied in so many different ways, right? Like these
That's it.
universal, deep bits of wisdom and truth, and that you can learn them and make them your own and share them in ways that make sense and help you enrich your life. That is so
Yeah.
cool. Wow, wow, wow. The other thing that I'm thinking as I'm hearing you say, I've got this fabulous full training that people can purchase and get those benefits, the module, and I have these smaller ones and they're happening at different parts of the year. I'm thinking about your business and your technology and this idea of launching. Here we are talking about your
Yeah.
launches. How does that work? Because in some businesses, they're launching once a year, some
Yeah.
signature course, or maybe they're launching every quarter, but you've got at least 8 times
That's right. That's
that
right.
you're notifying your audience and that you're sharing. How does that work day to day? And yeah,
Yes. And so to be honest,
yeah,
I was overwhelmed by the idea of one launch a year. It felt
yes.
like such a build-up that I thought, how could I do this differently? And it actually ended
Okay,
up being a win-win. The feedback
okay,
anyway from the clients of liking the breakup of the different topics. And so I
okay,
literally look at the year with my virtual assistant and
okay.
say, if we look at, okay, the boundaries module is coming up early January.
Yeah,
Let's back that up 6 to 8 weeks before this course begins.
sure.
Let's start talking in newsletters, in our social education, in what we're giving in value, all around the topic of boundaries. And then we do the
Beautiful.
exact same thing all around the topic of relationships. And so we hope to build
Oh,
value and connection with the audience topic based.
Yes.
And so it actually really helps with what we're going to be saying on social media and what our messaging is, because it's shaped by the calendar of the modules and the topics there.
Yeah, no, that's a beautiful way, because so often people have a challenge in like, what the heck am I going to say?
Yes,
And
I had that
especially
for
when
years.
especially
Yeah.
and you have so much that you could say. You've even mentioned in our conversation today, at least 4 different major fields of study that you've integrated. So there's like almost like there's so much to be said that it's hard to pick something.
Completely.
So the great benefit, you said it so well, like breaking down this one program into these shorter modules and then selling them individually really gives you an opportunity to kind of mini launch or consistently launch throughout the year. And it breaks down your content calendar. So as you were saying it, I was like, oh, that's genius.
Yes,
because
I'm so glad.
it gives you a clear topic. And it's almost fun. Like often people don't like revisiting concepts year after year because they think, oh, my list has already seen it. But oftentimes not everyone on your list sees everything you put out. But also there's so much that you have to say. Like I'm sure in 6 to 8 weeks, in 6 to 8 years, you probably could talk about consistently boundaries.
There's just so much to say on the topic. Same with relationships. Like, gosh, there's so much under that one topic. Yeah.
Yes. And there are these layers. There's a video I was lucky to watch on your website earlier this morning about yoga and how you had a yoga instructor take your training and how she saw the connections. And I've been practicing yoga for quite some time, and I love it that there are these layers, right? Like if there's, you're starting your practice, you can do this modification and you're working towards, a deeper expression of this pose. And as you were talking, I'm like, oh my gosh, that makes perfect sense with your social media. Like every year, every time you revisit this topic, you can go deeper, look at it from another angle. Yeah. So beautiful. So it stays fresh. And at the same time, your systems, which the part that I love in the background, makes so much sense. You have so much structure. Oh, I love that. Let's talk a little bit about technology. So in terms of your tech, like what tools are you using? How do you get all this stuff going?
So Zoom has become my favorite tool, it's
everyone.
Exactly. So we meet on Zoom and it ends up looking like, the Brady Bunch. I'm showing my age now, but
everybody.
That's it. And so it makes it really interactive. And I think that's another feedback that I've received, because people come in from all over the world. And so, there's this one beautiful woman from France who calls in, and it's, whatever time there. And, we get to have these cute little conversations around weather and where we are and how the cultural differences around family shift a little bit. So that seems to be a really neat meeting place. And even those from the U.S. and there's difference in what's going on politically, and just that all comes up. And so what I've come to appreciate about this work is it's a place to meet beyond, I guess, beyond what's right or wrong, beyond. It's a very inclusive space, and we can all have our ideas and opinions, and yet the one thing we share in common is we come from a family, and there's this place where we think, oh, that person thinks this way, but then they begin to open up, and oh, no wonder she's so critical, or no wonder she's so judgmental. Look at how her mom treated her. And so we begin to grow our compassion and grow our empathy, even just within these groups that meet once a week, and the relationships that come from that are really strong.
Wow. I'm almost getting goosebumps. What an important thing to do in this time that we live in is to really understand each other and see yourself in each other. And that's such important work. So once someone signs up, you're connecting via Zoom. What are the processes that you're using, or the tools rather? We're talking about tools. What are the tools that you're using to do the marketing, our email marketing, process payment? How does that all work? Do you use a course platform? What is that all about?
Great question. So I use a lot of my back office for my WordPress site. So
Okay.
that there
Okay.
is, for each module, there is a resource page so that they
Okay.
can log back into that. There's all the recordings of the week, because let's face it, sometimes we can't make every class or
Sure. For
something
sure.
comes up.
For
There are
sure.
all the handouts, there are related articles, there are links. It's all in one place. So that's just in the back office of the site. So it keeps it super
Okay.
easy to manage.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, we use Active Campaign, my
Oh,
VA and I. Yeah,
yeah.
thank
Yeah. Yeah.
you
Yeah.
for your guidance there.
My favorite tool. Yep. Yep. Yep.
Yeah. And so that's been great for regular newsletters, for tracking the whole process of, they're interested, but not right now, and
Yep.
how we
Yep.
get back in touch with them. What other tools are we using?
Yeah.
I try to keep it as simple as I can, and that might
For
actually be
sure.
everything.
It
Yeah.
sounds like it. It sounds like you must have something on your website where you can take funds,
Oh,
enter credit
yes,
cards or something,
absolutely. You can register right from the site.
from the
Yeah.
site. And
And
how does it work year after year? Like you've been doing this for a couple years, several years now.
yeah,
You've been in practice for several years, but this training for the last 3 years. So
yes.
let's say I was in the 2019 cohort. Do I get to
Yes.
attend the classes? Do I get to keep logging in, or are they separate year from year, the content?
Yeah, they're separate because the content is usually highly personal. And so, for example, the 2019 graduates
Yes.
are coming to this area to do a retreat in October.
Oh,
Yeah, and so
wow.
they had requested a little alumni, we're going to get together for 4 days. We're going to dive back into the work. We're going to
Yeah.
also spend some time on marketing and how we bring this work into the world, and maybe what are the blocks or
Oh,
the, where have they become stuck, and how
yeah,
do we get
yeah.
unstuck, and what does that look like? And so and I suppose that my favorite part of where we continue is I have a mentoring group. And so once a
Oh,
month, there's a 2 hour, whoever would like to come and get some help with cases. And
right.
Ada, I love it because they just bring all these cases, there's probably, we talk about 8 or 10 in 2 hours. And
Yeah.
like a flash round of, what do I do with this case? And what about, where could I go here? And so it's just such a deep and
Wow.
fun conversation. And even those who attend that just listen have told
Yeah.
me, oh my gosh, I've got so much up my sleeve of when this client comes into my office, now I'll know just what to do. So it really
Wow.
puts all the learning together when we're now applying it to cases.
I think that is spectacular. Like to build community, okay, I'm so excited I can't even talk. To like deepen to deepen your application of the information. I think that is beautiful. So is this alumni group for everyone? Is it like a paid program? Like how does it work?
Yes, so
Okay.
this is a blend. So anyone who's
Okay.
taken my training over the years is welcome to attend. And it's
Oh,
2 hours once a month. The cost is $179.
okay.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. And it's a subscription, or you pay
Yes,
to attend? Oh, a subscription.
that's it. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is so cool. I was like, that is so cool.
Yeah.
My goodness. Okay, so we've talked about the structure of the course. We've talked about your technology. We talked about your team. You have a VA that you mentioned that you're working with.
Yeah.
How are you getting the word out about this amazing work that you do? Do you have a group of people, like a mastermind? I've had other people chat about. Is it mostly social media, ads, paid ads? How are you getting the word out?
To be honest, I've
Yeah,
tried the ads. My VA is so good with consistent social media. That was
yeah.
my big hurdle, to be
Okay.
consistent, as you say, to know what the heck, what is my
Yeah,
content? What am I talking about?
yes.
So over maybe the last 2 years, that seems to have been really polished, and that feels
Yeah,
really good. But when I look at where are the people coming from, I'm going to say 8 out of 10 comes from a referral base. They've, seen me privately at some point, or
yeah.
their aunt or sister had gotten great results from our private work, and now
Okay.
they're curious. One of my favorite students, we had such a good click.
Yeah.
I was a guest on her podcast. And so
Oh, amazing.
the conversation we got into in the interview led to her, wow, I really want to do your training.
Yes.
So it's really being out there, sharing the work.
Okay.
And I've always sort of said the best marketing for my style of very intimate work is giving great results, just showing up in the best way that I can. Even if my audience is, 5 and holding the view that it will become 55. That's what I've really put into practice. And some days easier said than done, but on a good day, that's my answer.
Right. And well, that, when the work speaks for itself, then of course people will observe and, hey, how did you do that? And how did you get this result? And find you in other ways. And it's lovely, I'm grateful that you're having a chat with me here, and obviously other people that create, podcasts and videos and things to share. The work that you do is so important, and I'm so grateful for you being here with me today. Can you tell everyone what are the best ways that they can find you online and learn more about what you do?
Absolutely. So if you're on Instagram, you can find me under the Family Imprint Institute.
Okay.
On Facebook, it's under my personal name, Johanna Lynn. And my website, of course, has got lots of articles and a lot of the interviews that I've done over the years if they want to learn more about the topic. And that's johannalynn.ca.
Yes, excellent. And I'll put a little plug in because I'm on your email list. I see your name in my inbox. So your email list is a fabulous resource as well. I found, especially your subjects, I'm like, ooh, what's in there? You and your VA write some really great subject lines. So thank you so much, Johanna, for joining me here. And I'm so happy. And I hope you have a great day.
Yes, thanks, Ada. So nice to be with you.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for watching. Please subscribe to be notified for the next episode. If you know someone that would benefit from this episode, please share. If you are ready to improve your lunch results, visit Dr. Ada's website at www.operationsallied.com. All of the links mentioned in the episode are in the description below. Have a great day.